Tēnā koutou, hope you're still enjoying this wonderful book. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do section 2, part 1 of the book. So let's get into it. I feel like in this half, Graham is actually getting into the summary of what he's going to go on with. So he talks about the origin of Polynesia. I'm hanging out in this little corner here because I'm going to have some pictures that'll come through the screen of mapping. So it's starting to get very detailed now in a deep dive. So that's nice. This is a picture of Middle Earth. Between the Tigris and the Euphrates River was the hub of mankind. So that's where it all started for humanity. Of course, that's where after the flood I'm talking about, not Adam and Eve type of things, but this is where the flood was. Obviously, the flood was in the world. Noah was launching himself in this area, and therefore we were meant to go out to the world and multiply. However, we created more unity, and we ended up staying where we were and building a massive city called Babel. And yes, that had its problems, and so therefore we were given all new languages by God, and who was encouraging us and punishing us to make sure that we do his command, which was go and spread amongst the earth, right? So, however, this language, how we use this language makes things very interesting when we're studying about history of Māori. So 4 generations it took from Noah coming off the boat before we started to enter into polytheism and pantheism. Pantheism is simply God is pan, meaning God is in everything, everyone is God, and trees and plants and everything. And of course, polytheism is the worship of entities and demons. So it didn't take that long to get into trouble again, but never mind. We know that God set the boundaries for his people and limitations, and he did send the sons of God to each of those areas. So yes, they were, that was that. That's another subject with the sons of gods. Anyway, so tracing the language, the history of language can go up to 3,000 years. We call the study of language linguistics. And you can tell it's an absolute miracle, because when you consider Indo-European, Indo meaning a collaboration of language, which is the European languages, German and English, Swedish, they're all sort of generically similar. However, when you compare that with Semitic language, which is Chinese, Japanese, Arabian, Asian, there is no resemblance at all. It didn't just merge into one at all. So it was absolutely a powerful intervention that God gave us, and so we know there is no doubt that it was God. Okay. Hawaii is the immediate homeland of ancient Māori. I didn't mention that some people like to think it as a mysterious land, but Graham really draws down that it is modern Hawaii that we're talking about. So that's interesting. So if this is true, the homeland of ancient Māori is Hawaii. Far westward was where the traditions of the Takiti Mua Waka, I'm sorry if I'm going to pronounce these things wrong, but anyway, so the traditions of this waka talks about a far westwardness to history, and it also is interesting because the former homeland, sorry, there's dogs, the former homeland of Great Ur is a big trade city. This is in the Persian area, okay? So when it talks about far westward, it's talking more about the Persian area, right? So there was a big seaport in Persian Gulf, which a lot of people said that this is where the big city was. This is where every trade came to. Its walls were 21 meters thick. Its height was 24 meters high, and it was just a magnificent center. So Ur, the Great Ur, is mentioned in many civilizations, or Urnu, or yeah. So anyway, they have different pronunciations, but it's Ur, and it's interesting because that a lot of them in that city were worshipping sometimes living God, and then sometimes it was gods. A lot of like different worships going on. So that seems to be the case when people come together a lot more closer. There seems to be a lot of like different ways of worshipping different things, and it doesn't impress God, obviously. Even Abraham, father, Terah, or Terah, he was a worshipper of other gods, and you can read that in the Apocrypha, how he just Abraham went off and challenged his father's gods, and it was just so quite hilarious because it really upset his father, and anyway, so he was quite a upstart in his whole family, but God was very impressed with Abraham. So I think that's in the book of Jubilees. You can read that. The cultural signposts for immigration. This is what Graham outlines. This is botany, which is the plants, how plants spread. Zoology, astro, astronomy, archaeology, and of course the study of languages, and the highest, which Graham really does draw down on, is the DNA, proof of DNA. I mean, some of those examples he rattles off in this section was Qumran. Qumran was native to South America, so how did that get to Aotearoa? So these are interesting travel immigrations of this. The star calendars, which is similar to the city of Ur in Persia. So a lot of the Arabian star calendars are traditional in Māori and in Polynesia. So this is very interesting. I also want to do a shout out to, there was this lady that Graham talks about, which is Erica Hagelberg, who did an 8-year study on Polynesian and Malaysian DNA. She would be very interesting to talk to, or even interesting to get a book or something, right? So she talks about the originating from Asia, which is more Polynesian, actually originated from Asian background there, so which is beyond westward again, and how that she relates that to how Māori came into that area before obviously they came to Hawaii, right? Because they still had to get from Persia to Hawaii. So anyway, very interesting. Now to Hawaii and Māori, okay? So this is very interesting. Hawaii Islands. They say that the first settlers in Hawaii Islands were the Menehui people. So they came from the south of Hawaii as traditions. This is what Graham says. And they settled in 400 years after Christ's death. And between 700 and 900 years, they were absolutely undisturbed. Okay? Now, when they say that they came from south of Hawaii, a lot of people thinking Tahiti, because Tahiti is a very sacred place too. So, after 900 years of undisturbed settlement there, in the year 1300s, it was a priest or a chief that subdued Tahiti, and he arrived to conquer Hawaii. So this priest came and made war, and many fled on their wakas into the inhabitants of Rarotonga, and also Aotearoa. So the Polynesian settlers were skilled and brave to get away. They dispensed themselves and survived. As late as the 1800s, a remnant of Māori offspring were identifying themselves as Menenui people. So they still wanted to hold forth onto that original understanding. Hema was, you'll probably start to hear a lot more of this guy Hema. Hema was the navigating hero. He was the priest of Io, so he was the servant of the living high God, and he was able to escape and help all his people to escape to Rarotonga and to New Zealand. So Hema actually means celebrated hero, or in other pagan words it means demigod. So that's it for today. The next section, you'll be very surprised. For those that love cultural correctness, I feel like this is a summary, but now we're going to draw deep into the Middle East and see some Egyptian bloodline come through, as well as some amazing, amazing stuff. So there is a rich, rich culture for Māori blood, and I just think it's very exciting. Okay, well, ka kitea, and I just wish you well for your week, and any comments, just hit down there, and hopefully we'll get chatting. Okay, see you, bye.